What if getting a second chance at life wasn't a blessing? What if reincarnation dropped you into a world filled with betrayal, monsters, ancient curses, and impossible choices? Today we're counting down 8 dark reincarnation anime and manga series where death is only the beginning. Some of these stories follow heroes reborn with incredible power. Others throw their characters into terrifying worlds where survival is never guaranteed. Let's get started. Number 8. The dark history of the reincarnated villainess. Imagine waking up inside the embarrassing fantasy novel you wrote when you were younger. Now imagine the character you become is the villain destined to die horribly. That's exactly what happens here. The protagonist suddenly finds herself reincarnated into her own story as Konoha Magnolia, a villainess surrounded by deadly events she already knows are coming. The problem? Her younger self filled the story with dark plot twists, tragic deaths, dangerous love interests, and enough chaos to make survival nearly impossible. Because she knows the future, she constantly tries to avoid disaster, but every attempt seems to create new problems. What makes this series stand out is the mix of comedy and darkness. Beneath the funny moments is a genuine sense of dread, because the protagonist knows exactly how terrible things can become. And if you think surviving your own story sounds difficult, wait until you see what happens when someone gets reborn as a dragon. Number 7. Noble reincarnation. Born blessed, so I'll obtain ultimate power. Most reincarnation stories start with an ordinary person getting a second chance. This one starts with someone reborn as royalty. Noah is reincarnated as the 13th prince of a powerful empire. From birth, he possesses extraordinary talents and blessings that make him stand out from everyone around him. But despite the title sounding light-hearted, the political landscape is anything but peaceful. Succession struggles, military conflicts, and power games surround Noah from every direction. Instead of simply enjoying his privileged life, he uses his intelligence and abilities to reshape the kingdom, while navigating threats that could destroy everything he's building. The darker side of the story comes from the ruthless nature of politics, where even family members can become enemies. And speaking of dangerous enemies, the next protagonist has to survive in a body that's hunted by almost everything alive. Number 6. Reincarnated as a dragon hatchling. Imagine being reborn. Now imagine coming back as a tiny dragon trapped inside an egg. That is the nightmare facing this protagonist. Unlike many overpowered reincarnation heroes, he begins at the absolute bottom of the food chain. Every creature around him is stronger, faster, and more experienced. The world itself feels brutal. Monsters constantly fight for survival. Evolution is often the only path forward. Every victory comes with serious risks. What makes this series so addictive is the progression system. Watching the protagonist slowly evolve from a vulnerable hatchling into something truly terrifying creates constant tension and excitement. Every new transformation feels earned. But while dragons battle for survival using strength, the next entry focuses on warriors reborn through mysterious powers linked to history itself. Number 5. Petals of Reincarnation. This series takes reincarnation in a completely different direction. Instead of characters being reborn into another world, people gain access to abilities connected to their past lives. And not just any past lives. We're talking about famous historical figures. The protagonist discovers that he can unlock powers from a previous incarnation, placing him in the middle of conflicts involving others with similar gifts. As more reincarnated individuals appear, battles become increasingly dangerous and unpredictable. The darker themes emerge through questions about identity, destiny, and how much influence a past life should have over the present. The action is intense, the powers are unique, and the mysteries keep getting deeper. But if you think reincarnation powers are dangerous, the next story takes revenge across multiple lifetimes. Number 4. Hanaori-san still wants to fight in the next life. Some rivalries never end. Even death can't stop them. This story follows 2 individuals whose conflict continues across reincarnations. Lifetime after lifetime, they find themselves crossing paths and reigniting the same competitive spirit. What begins as a funny premise gradually reveals deeper emotional layers. The repeated cycle of rebirth creates questions about fate, obsession, and whether people can truly escape the patterns that define them. Each new life introduces fresh circumstances while maintaining the tension between the main characters. There's something strangely fascinating about watching a relationship evolve across multiple generations while carrying memories and emotions from previous existences. And the next entry raises the stakes even further with murder, mystery, and political intrigue. Number 3. The Holy Grail of Eris. At first glance, this looks like a noble fantasy drama. Then things get much darker. The story follows Connie, a young noblewoman who becomes connected to the spirit of Scarlet Castiel, a woman who was executed years earlier. Together they begin uncovering conspiracies, hidden motives, and secrets buried beneath aristocratic society. Scarlet is clever, manipulative, and often morally grey, making her one of the most interesting characters in the story. As mysteries unravel, the line between justice and revenge becomes increasingly blurred. The atmosphere is filled with tension because every discovery reveals another layer of deception. And while that story deals with ghosts and conspiracies, our next entry dives headfirst into vampires, bloodlines, and supernatural darkness. Number 2. Dark Moon, the Blood Altar. This supernatural fantasy combines reincarnation themes with vampires, ancient destinies, and forbidden relationships. The story centers on a world where humans and vampires exist in constant conflict. As hidden truths emerge, connections from past lives begin influencing present events. Characters struggle against fate while uncovering secrets tied to their origins and previous incarnations. The darker tone comes from betrayal, loss, revenge, and the constant threat of violence. The world feels dangerous, and every revelation pushes the story into even more dramatic territory. If you enjoy supernatural mysteries mixed with romance and action, this series delivers plenty of all three. But the number 1 pick takes a seemingly simple reincarnation concept and turns it into one of the most satisfying survival stories on this list. Number 1. Easygoing territory defense by the optimistic Lord. The title makes this sound relaxed. Don't be fooled. The protagonist is reincarnated as a young noble, tasked with managing a remote territory that has been neglected and pushed to the brink of collapse. Resources are scarce. Threats are everywhere. The future looks hopeless. Fortunately, he possesses knowledge and abilities that allow him to gradually rebuild the region. What makes this series so engaging is watching small victories accumulate into massive achievements. Every improvement feels meaningful because the starting situation is so desperate. The darker elements come from the harsh realities facing the territory, including poverty, external dangers, and political pressure. Instead of relying purely on combat, the protagonist wins through strategy, leadership, and long-term planning. That combination of reincarnation, survival, and kingdom building makes it one of the most rewarding stories in the genre. And that's our list of 8 dark reincarnation anime and manga you need to watch. Whether you prefer villainesses trying to escape tragic destinies, dragons fighting for survival, supernatural mysteries, or kingdom-building adventures, there's something here worth adding to your watch list. If you discovered a new series today, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which reincarnation story deserves a spot in a future countdown. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.